Welcome to NVC Life. I'm Rachelle Lamb, veteran NVC trainer and relationship coach, helping listeners navigate interpersonal conflict and ground more deeply into relational living. Greetings, fellow humans. And that, of course, is the call of an elephant, which I chose since this week's episode explores this year's Oscar winner for Best Documentary Short Film, The Elephant Whisperers, which you can catch on Netflix. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the film and share why I enjoyed it so much. What an amazing documentary. I've watched through it twice now, and I'll definitely be watching it again because it transported me into a place and a way of life that I consider to be good medicine in so many ways. Meet Bowman and Belly, I hope I'm pronouncing their names correctly, the middle-aged couple based in Tapakadu Elephant Camp, one of the oldest elephant camps in Asia, which was established around 140 years ago. It's basically a rehabilitation camp for orphaned, abandoned, and displaced wild elephants. Bowman has lived here for generations. He lives in the place, and the place lives in him. The film opens with Bowman building a fire inside the residence. Belly, the woman, speaks from the adjoining room. "I'm not going to marry someone who's going to be covered with ash." We see a playful smile on her face. Both Bowman's father and grandfather were elephant caretakers, mahouts, and he is carrying on with the tradition. He's been entrusted with the care of baby elephant named Raghu, whose mother died instantly after being electrocuted. The young one is not doing well. His tail has been bitten off by stray dogs, and he has open wounds that are infested with maggots. It's really sad to see he's suffering so much. Raghu has been separated from his herd and needed some intervention if he was going to survive. In fact, his survival was quite uncertain. The geography where the story is filmed is quite stark in comparison to what most of us in the dominant culture are accustomed to. Simple concrete slabs with cement blocks for walls, some thin discolored wood siding, and large overhangs. But that's home. That is home to these people. Belly is the only woman in Tamil Nadu assigned to help care for baby elephants. And where the documentary story begins, Raghu has already been in the care of Bowman and Belly for 3 years. We see Bowman playing ball in the grass with Raghu, both of them playfully chasing after it, Bowman kicking and Raghu using his trunk. It's really touching. Raghu wears a bell around his head, which serves as a location device tracker should he get lost in the forest because he would not be able to fend for himself. Raghu is too young to know how to properly feed himself, and we watch as he approaches Krishna, a very large adult elephant, for some mentoring. It's so touching to see the young one get close and let Krishna remove a sliver from his mouth when he accidentally tries to swallow one. It's not easy to know exactly how to pick up the right kinds of vegetation with the elephant trunk. It takes practice, and there are some things that young animals can only learn from their kin. Humans can only be relied on for so much. At some point, Belly says, "We have become a family around Raghu, and we think that's why he has survived." She also speaks about how, in her mothering of Raghu, they have forgotten about all their other worries. For instance, Belly's former husband was killed by a tiger or a leopard, I'm not sure which. She mentions that she's a tribal woman and that her people come from the heart of the forest. She says, for Katunayakans, the well-being of the forest is all that matters. And the way her people show respect for the forest is to walk barefoot on it. The forest is lush, deep green, dense and vast with various rocky elevations. The forest is home to many wildlife species, including the Bengal tiger, Indian leopard, Asian elephant, wild boar, among others. It's home to more than 2,000 species of fauna, a magnificent, diverse community. And in the film, we see a few natives swinging perilously from ropes on the sides of a steep, rocky elevation. They're looking for honey from the beehives. And Belly goes on to say, we live off the forest, but we also protect it. We only take what we need. Imagine living in such a place, seeing yourself as a true custodian to a place with a responsibility to protect it, only taking what is needed for your survival. So different than how we live in the modern world where we consume, consume, consume. Bowman speaks about the elephant's temperament, how intelligent and feeling they are, which is evident in the documentary. And though Bowman and Belly aren't afraid of the elephants, caring for elephants doesn't come without its dangers, which exist mainly because of the sheer size of the creature and the huge tusks. You have to know what you're doing. Belly speaks at some point about how the elephant is just like a human, except that it doesn't speak as humans do, which might be a nice relief. She feels very much like she is Ragu's mother, and while she has cared for Ragu, Ragu has also cared for her in his own way. Belly tells us that her daughter recently died. One of the most difficult pains for a mother to endure is the death of a child. Of course, so hard. Belly tells us that when she cried, Ragu would gently wipe her tears with his trunk. I mean, that moves me to tears right now just speaking about it. I mean, just hearing her say that brought tears to my eyes while I was watching it. The deep tenderness and empathy that an animal can have for a human. It's so incredibly moving. Taking care of Ragu reminds Belly of taking care of her daughter. It's like having her daughter back in her life. Let me say here that the cinematography is stunning. The panoramic views do notable justice to the magnificent landscape, capturing its wild beauty and aliveness, the outdoor campfires under a blanket of black starlit sky, uncontaminated by electrical light, the rising moon, the vibrant green forest that appeared to go on forever. It's incredibly beautiful to watch from a wide-angle distance as Ragu walks through the forest with a bowman straddled on his back. It's very poetic. What a way to live one's life in this reverent and mutually nourishing accord with another. And then there's the ceremony. The young elephants, heads and faces painted in bright colors and intricate designs, wearing flower garlands, walking in a long line to seek blessings from Lord Ganesha. Bowman is both a priest and a mahout. Bowman says, seeing an elephant to us is equivalent to seeing God. God and elephants are one for me. The way I serve God is the same way I serve elephants. We take care of Ragu every single day, which in turn puts food on my table every day. This is God's presence in my life. Now that's what I would call service, a life of service. And just when we become accustomed to so much green, the camera leads us into the dry, seasonal spells of scorching summer, which is the most dangerous for wild baby elephants who can easily get lost. And so it is that we meet 5-month-old baby Amu, who has been entrusted to Bowman and Belly's care. And just as an older sibling can become quite upset with the arrival of a baby, so Ragu shares his displeasure at Amu's appearance on the scene. This little guy is stealing all the attention that was reserved solely for me. I don't want Amu in my life. Yep, Ragu would push Amu away whenever he was receiving attention from Bowman or Belly. The rivalry was pretty short-lived, though, as the two eventually bond. It doesn't take long before they become a solid family. And not only do the two elephants develop closeness, the two humans do as well. Bowman and Belly get married over the course of the filming of the documentary. We see them exchange vows in the presence of the village and the well-adorned elephants. It's really a beautiful outdoor wedding. And then it's back to work, back to caring for life. We meet Sanjana, Belly's granddaughter, who appears to be about 7 or 8 years old. No surprise she happens to love elephants too. And who's going to teach her how to care for them? Grandma, of course. Taking care of elephants is a lot of work. It means feeding them, sheltering them, cleaning them. They're huge creatures, so of course, a lot of work, not to mention the love and affection that must be given to them, given how intelligent they are and how emotional they are. One night, as Sanjani, the granddaughter, is curled up on her grandmother's lap, Belly tells her granddaughter that only those who live close to elephants actually know elephants, that they show love when you show love, just like Raghu and Amu. And the open fire flickers in the distance as she tells her this. As the story nears its end, the newly married couple receive word from the forest department informing them that Raghu has been assigned to another caregiver. It's a heartbreaking moment. The couple are deeply attached to Raghu, as is Amu, who chases after him after he's led off. Bowman is grief-stricken, tears rolling down his cheeks. The pain is so intense. You can see his love for him. No one's eating properly for days. The elephants were their children. It really stings. And Amu is not himself. He misses Raghu. Boy, the tears were flowing as I watched this. This is love, the beauty of love and the pain of love. Belly speaks about how she is no longer afraid of the forest as she has been following the death of her former husband. She speaks about how she has found her way through all the losses and sadness that marked her life. Having raised 2 baby elephants, she is now referred to as the mother of elephants. Bowman shares this nearing the end of the film. It is the action of us humans that is causing elephants to enter villages these days. Our mistakes are very harmful, both for us and for elephants. We were able to save Raghu and Amu because they were brought to us, but we are not able to save them all. The camera follows Bowman to a scene by the water where we see Bowman and Raghu reunited. Raghu is now a free-roaming elephant, and Bowman shares that every time he sees Raghu, he feels great joy. And he says, even today, he still comes running to me when I call. I see the love he has for me, and I feel love for him too. Then fast forward to a group of young boys diving into the water and washing a large elephant together. Belly reminds us, the children are our future. We want the younger generation to learn from us. They learn by watching and helping us work. Bowman chimes in, after me, this younger generation will carry on the tradition of working with elephants, and they will do it well. I cannot imagine a life without elephants. We see one of the young boys with his feet placed on the elephant's tusks as he scrubs the elephant's head with a large brush. These kids are having a blast out in the natural world, in kinship with the wildlife and in kinship with their elders. The circle is unbroken, and the elephant sprays the boys playfully with his gray hose. The film ends. The credits roll. Belly and Bowman are the first couple to successfully raise 2 orphaned elephants in South India. Amu and Raghu continue to thrive and are now 3 and 7 years old. Why this film is so important? In only 40 minutes, this film invites us into the world of 2 individuals who live a life of devotion and service to the land that they have been born to the creatures that live there, and in this case specifically to 2 elephants who would not have survived without their care and commitment. It is a story of deep love for nature and for life. It teaches lessons of what it means to live with enough, to not take more than what is needed, to maintain traditions, to live with gratitude, to make a place for ceremony, to see God in the world, to remember our dead, by loving what's alive, to teach the next generation how to do the same. This is a beautiful film about all our relations, a live example of people's capacity to attend to the living needs of the world and to be in love with life as they care for life. The Elephant Whisperers. If you haven't seen it, find a way to do so. It's a marvelous, moving, powerful documentary. Thank you for tuning into NVC Life. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube. For free resources or to book a private session with me, head over to RachelleLamb.com. Until the next time, stay sane, grateful, and generous.